The special guest of today is Olivia. She's retired from the 9 to 5 job to become a full-time day trader in the Forex market. She's only 25 years old. Enjoy. All right, Olivia, good morning. Thank you very much for making some time for me. How are we?
Good. How are you?
Really good, thank you. Olivia, let's just get started. So, first of all, so you quit your 9 to 5 job and now you are a full-time Forex trader.
Yeah,
Okay.
finally did it. Yeah.
Wow, you are one of the few percentage of people who have made it. So first of all, congratulations, and that's why I want to hear the podcast, because I believe there are a lot of people want to know. Okay, especially me.
Yeah.
So first of all, I'd like to get to know you a little bit more from you born and bred in Brisbane?
Yes. Yeah. I haven't really ventured out. It's just been work, Brisbane work. Yeah.
Nice, nice. I love Brisbane. And did you grow up with both parents,
Yeah.
single mother, single dad, both parents?
Both parents. Yeah.
Okay.
No, they're best friends.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Any brothers, sisters?
Two older brothers. Yeah.
Okay.
Who don't do anything similar to me whatsoever.
Yeah, that
So,
was my question. Like,
yeah.
what do they say? Because a lot of people, when they want to get into that career, which is invest like a full-time trader, you get a lot of people on the way, like parents or brothers or sisters say, what are you doing? Get another job or something like that. So what is like to have people who are not into your same path and
Yeah.
maybe don't understand exactly what you're doing, and how do you deal with that in a nice way without create problems?
Um, it's well, I think when like, I mean, you've read the books and you're in that kind of world,
Yeah.
everyone, all of your friends, every trader, and it's not just trader, it's kind of anyone who's going against the grain, not doing the safety net of the uni degree, and actually just backing themselves. Because everyone has that kind of reaction, so it never feels personal. And then when they, whatever they're saying, you're going to kind of know where that's coming from. It's like you can see that their risk profile is just different. It's like, okay, you are adverse to risk. That's why you are going down kind of that path of, you have that uni degree and it makes you feel safer. And that's a tried and true kind of profession, which is interesting because, in today's climate, you can see how that's actually not safe. And people can, they're out of jobs and everything like that. But I think it's just knowing where they're coming from is and why they're saying it. And you can see that it's, they're trying to care. They're, wanting to make sure that you don't end up like, kind of like, I used to want to be a singer and go and just do that kind of route. And then that's really risky. So you can understand where they're coming from. But I've been extremely lucky with my parents. Like, no matter what I've wanted to do, and especially my mum, she has that mindset of, well, if someone else can do it, why can't you do it? Like, why and so even though, extended family and some friends have, kind of said, why don't you go and do something, like my teachers, because I was a straight A student, they were like appalled when I told them that I wasn't going to go to uni. They were like, well, what are you doing? But I'm like, well, I don't want that life. So, and still use all the same things. It's just you're just doing a riskier kind of thing to actually put yourself in a better low risk position.
Yeah.
So.
And when did you start with trading? Like, how old were you when you say you start to be attracted to trading? Like, when did you?
I mean, because I always loved math. I loved the idea of Wall Street, pretty much from high school, and I think just the competitive side and being the best and never about the money, but just that kind of high speed lifestyle I really, really liked. And then trading was more when I was about 21. So I'm 25 now. And yeah, that's when I have a friend who had retired through trading. And so that's how I kind of got into it. And then didn't realize what kind of massive world it was. And then just,
Wow.
yeah, deep down the rabbit hole.
So you met people who were trading full time?
Yeah.
And you got, okay, online or like in Brisbane?
In Brisbane, yeah. So my brother's best mate, he was who got me into it, and he was he is a full-time trader. So then when I heard that he retired within 3 months, I was like, yep, I'm onto that. Like we are gonna do that. So
no, that's amazing. That's amazing. And okay, sorry, I'm writing down. I'm just thinking. Okay, so when did you put some money into an account? You were like 18, 19, 20 earlier?
No, so when I the vlogging that I did and capturing every single day, that was from my first day of live trading. So that was, and I should totally know the date of this, November 2018. Yeah. So, and doing it, it's ironic because I work in with numbers and trying to do the math of how old I was. So 20, 23, nearly 24. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I came across trading, and then, but I had so many health issues and then workplace drama, and there was just kind of hit after hit. So I looked into it, but I never really got into it until I was 23. Yeah.
Yeah, what I was impressed about you start to document it like on a daily basis. And that's actually, because you can see actually the truth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see a lot of people out there, yeah, trading is amazing, you make all the money, you see Lamborghini, Ferraris and stuff like that, but I haven't seen someone starting from scratch day one. And that's what I want to say, like, well done. You had, I would say, balls to do it.
Oh, there were definitely times that I was like, I really wish I hadn't done this, because I can't lie. So if I stuff up, or if I, make a mistake, or I am slacking off because there's boy drama or there's something, then I have to kind of get on and be like, yeah, I didn't do it. Like, and so, but that was a thing that I think I hadn't seen anyone do it. And the issue that I found with that was that I'm like, okay, I've got really good parents that, have always brought me up and said that you can achieve anything. But for so many people that haven't had that kind of support, and if they're not super confident, and they go and look at people on Instagram, their mind can so easily dismiss it because there's such a big space in between them and, what this person has achieved. So it's so easy to put them on this pedestal and just think, oh, they've got something I don't have. Whereas I'm like, if I can get on and show that, you can go through, it doesn't matter the health dramas, the boy dramas, that every drama, or how long, you can actually make it work and it can actually happen. And so I wanted to kind of take away that pedestal, I guess, and just say that, yeah, if you want it, you actually can. It's just how much are you prepared to put into it.
What's the challenges you went through during all of these, vlogging and because it's kind of you trading on a stage, I would say. You got more pressure on, like, to perform, which is, I believe it is good because keep you accountable, which is great. But at the same time, it's like, wow, I'm learning a new trade. I've got a lot of people watching me, and I've got some responsibility here. Like, what's the challenges you went through?
I would say that, like, I mean, I was so lucky with how I've been received by people. Like, and so many people have messaged me about wanting to go online and do a vlog or do something like that, and worried about the hate that they'll get. I've been extremely lucky in that. The only kind of hate I've had has been, you know, just a few guys, if you turn them down, then they go and call you something, and then you're like, okay, mate, like that's about it.
Mm.
So I've been very lucky in that way. The biggest challenge would have been declaring to everyone that I've retiring, and coronavirus hitting. And I was like,
Oh my God.
I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. Because then there was the stress, right? Because I'm like, if this doesn't work out, if you can't work it out, if you can't navigate these markets, you know, I've never back tested anything like this. If you can't do that, then not only do you have to have that ego hit of going, okay, now I'm going back to work, but also you've undone everything that you were trying to prove. You're trying to prove that you can do it. And then it's like, wait, jokes, guys. Like, so that kind of pressure, I think that, and I felt a lot of pressure to, when I retired too, because I was like, you know, I've got some post-retirement clips and I'll put those on YouTube eventually, but to kind of show that, you know, oh my God, it's amazing and I'm so happy. And I was worried that I'm like, I mean, I'm not, and I'm really stressed and I'm in a really bad place, and this wasn't how I thought it would be. And so I was worried that putting that up and being that honest would deter people away from it. But weirdly, people were actually really thankful for being so open and honest, because they're like, we actually do, because that's our big fear. And so if we can see you, then if they can see me get out of it, then that's good. But so it's just, I think the biggest challenge would be, you know, also just kind of, you got to filter right, because, you know, if things are going on and you're talking about something and I'm so open, and then those people are watching and they're kind of the people that I'm talking about, you kind of like, okay, you know, that you got to dance a few lines there. But yeah, so I think it's mainly just wanting to make sure that I'm doing good, not doing any damage to, you know, when people see me stressed, and it's like, yeah, well, it isn't easy, you know, but I don't want that to deter them, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever found yourself to a point where, say, you know, you were about to quit, where you say, I don't know if I can keep going. I'm like, oh my God. Because, you know, when you are doing well, everything is easy, you know, it's great. You are the best job in the world. Everybody love everybody, you know, come around you. How are you doing? But when you are not doing the well, all the emotion are coming up and you start to question yourself. So did you have that type of, you know, points where you say, I don't know if I should keep going with this or not?
I would say that point, I mean, was March, was where I'd retired. And, you know, I was taking so many hits. And that was my lowest point emotionally. And that I've ever been through, which is, it's interesting because I've been through a lot, but financial stress and purpose, and when it comes to that high level, that hits you on another degree. So I would say that point, but you kind of early, probably even just for the first part of this year, I would say that, because what started to happen is, you know, my stress got so much because I was organizing, okay, we're retiring, okay, we need to get this sorted, and, you know, knew all those deadlines. And I kind of watched myself from outside myself and saw, like, okay, you're fading away. You're not sleeping. Like, I was sleeping 2.5 hours a night. You know, you're barely eating. You're so stressed. You know, this is happening. And I think when I found myself, like, in those really stressful periods, and I'm on the charts and I couldn't leave, and you know, I was just like, what are you doing to yourself? Like, your stress this is going to kill you, you know? So I think that was kind of, that it reached a pinnacle point at March, and I was like, something's got to give. So, you know, I'm like, either you're going to quit, or you're just going to say, all right, I'm not, you know, kind of taking that ease off yourself and going, I'm not going to judge you if you do fail, but let's just ride this out. Let's just get our mind back together. And okay, well, we'll just do this. And, you know, if the account goes down to zero, the account goes down to zero, and you can leave it. but you're either going to quit now or you're going to at least try. And so I was like, screw it. Well, I've already done it. So I'm like, might as well see what happens.
Hey,
yeah.
how do you think is the emotion play a big role in trading? Because yes, you need to get some skills and numbers, and how important is emotion, control your emotion in trading?
Massively, massively. It's interesting with this because there's a very famous book, Trading in the Zone, and it's all about mindset. And what I've always found funny is that when I read the book, I just applied it to my dating life because all those issues I had in my dating life, but I didn't have them in trading. And so I'm like, okay, I don't really come across so many of these emotional issues, like, the fear of missing out, or a lot of people are scared of taking losses. And so then they'll cut the trade short so much. And then that all comes down to their, financial history. But then I think the main kind of underlying issue or that comes up is when people place their sense of self and their identity on the results in the account, and they've tied it and they haven't separated it because it's such a personal thing. You're the one calling the shots. Like, no matter if you learn a strategy or whatever, you're still the one pulling the trigger. You're still the one, like, you're accountable. And especially if you go rogue like I have, like, and created something that's completely my own, with things from every course I've done, it's like, if this doesn't work, that is completely because of you. You can't blame a course. You can't blame this. That is because of you. And so I think that it's probably, that attachment, and then that can manifest in so many different ways. But I think that for me, the emotions hit when March hit. And that was the first time that I'd cared about losses, or I'd cared about all of these things, because suddenly it wasn't something on top of my salary. It was my salary. And so I'm like, and then that feeling of, okay, I need to kind of take a wage from this. And so then when you see a trade's going up and they're running up a mile, you want to close them short, which I have done before in a state of emotion. And then I robbed myself of 90% return. And I was like, I could have doubled my account if I just, I think that I had to change to accommodate trading. I'm a very different person to who I was when I started. And I know that can sound so cliche, but you do have to change. You have to become so much more robotic. Yeah.
Sorry, say again, you had to become much more what?
Robotic. Like a robot. And because that's the thing, you are technically a machine. That's what you're doing in the markets. Markets don't care about your feelings.
Logical, more scheduled.
Yeah. It's just, you have to, and this sounds really, really odd, but this is kind of the way I think about it. And I'm like, okay, technically the best kind of person to be a trader would be someone like a psychopath, right? Because they don't have that emotion, right? But they don't, right? But so, there's probably a lot of them on Wall Street, but they don't have that. So they can just go and do it and keep doing it, and they're not going to care. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to be beaten by a psychopath. So then I'm like, so then I need to be able to go and do that. And it sounds really odd, but that's how my mind works. But you do. And there's always going to be someone that has, taken a way bigger hit than you. And I think it's just recognizing, social media, it is rife in the trading world. They'll post the wins, they won't post the losses, and they have their own story about how it's going. And it's like, so I think that if you actually talk to traders, and that's what I have an advantage of with vlogging, I talk to them, and I'm like, it's a very different story. And you're like, okay, you're not alone. Anything that you're experiencing, everyone else has experienced. And so it's just about how you navigate it.
Wow. How important is to have a mentor? someone to call or like text to, during tough times?
Well, see, I guess my mentor is my mum, because we're best friends. So I think that, I mean, well, I guess, the trading coach side, it is good to be able to talk to someone who can give you that kind of guidance and,
Yeah.
obviously the course itself. But I think that, I think mentors are a very, very personal kind of thing. I know that, like, I know a lot of mentors out there, people will put them on a pedestal, and then that kind of is a damage in and of itself, because the idea is that you should be trying to succeed your mentor and become better than them. So I think having someone that you can vent to, and that has been my mum for me. I mean, I feel so sorry for her because she's had to listen to so much, so much. But yeah, you do. Otherwise, you can feel like you're going insane because it's you're doing this thing and you don't have much support from society in doing it. You're also not going to get much sympathy from society because they're going to go, well, you're just trying to get rich. So it's like if you fail, it's not kind of
Okay.
but you do need to get those feelings out.
So, okay, you would recommend to someone to, I would say, maybe not hire a mentor, but more of having a figure. You said is your mom, which is, so you have your mom where you kind of tell what's happening during the day and you release everything out.
Yeah.
It's actually amazing. And you have someone where you actually explain your performance. That's what you do, or you actually know. You just go to your mom and say, "Hey, I mess it all up."
So the thing that's hard with speaking about performance is I can't because the strategy is confidential. So, So, and that's because, when come the end of the year, the aim is to move overseas, and then you'll be trading, high investor capital. So you don't want to give away your strategy because you don't want people knowing what you're doing. You don't want brokers knowing what you're doing, even though they can see what you're doing, but they don't want it. You want to try and keep that as, under the covers as possible. So that's been difficult because people have reached out to me and they've gone, when I have shared certain results and they've gone, well, what's your strategy? And it's like, well, I feel heartless because I'm like, I can't tell you. But if you go and back test. So again, my mum is actually the person that, the poor thing, like I will be like, so anyway, on the charts. And what's really interesting is being from an outside perspective, she will actually kind of, hear above all of that and go, well, what about that? And then I'm like, oh my God, I did not even think about that. So she's good enough. But I think, I guess in the way of looking up in my field, the biggest kind of person that I've done that with not only has been Joshua Bunker, who's the coach of Guerrilla trading, which was the last course I did, but Gary V, when I went and saw him speak, and I remember that I saw like the difference between him and the other speakers, and he was doing it for the love of it and loving and caring, and I'm like, okay, so that's what I want to get to that level. And so that's kind of so I kind of probably diversify where I'm getting from, but I know a lot of people that have, I think it's just dependent on what you're really needing. And, is that what a mentor can give you, or can you give it to yourself?
Nice.
So, yeah.
Do you think that trading has made you a better person? Like, actually, would you recommend to people to learn how to day trade because help you to make daily decision, healthy decision? Like, do you feel that you becoming a better person thanks to trading?
100%. Definitely. Trading, like, to be able to do it, it made me have to do a degree of advanced self-review that I wouldn't have ever had to have done. But, you know, it had I not done it. But it also, see, the thing with trading is every time you're taking a trade, it's like, it's a kind of almost a form of self-love because you're backing yourself, right? And so you have to work on that strong relationship with yourself, and build up that confidence. But the biggest thing from, you know, like the risk of, I'm not trying to sound sexist or anything, but I know from a female perspective,
Yeah.
going and replacing, having that income that I could actually generate, and knowing that I'll never have to worry about money and I'll never have to answer to anyone or get along with anyone in order to make that money.
Yeah.
What that did for my psyche is interesting. It actually completely changed everything in the way of dating, because I didn't realize that, no, but there's that deep kind of primal thing of, okay, I need a partner to be able to provide and a stable home and everything like that. And that would influence your decisions. Whereas now that that's taken out of the equation, I'm like, well, I don't need that. And so it's just about love. So it's interesting. Like, there's so many different things. I could talk forever about it, but it did make me, I mean, my relationship with myself is so much better, and I put a price on my head a lot more. And yeah, I would say I've become who I actually was always, you know, underneath everything. But you had to cut away all of that to be able to trade, to be able to have that kind of focus. And yeah, and I mean, vlogging, like, I mean, I've loved doing that because it's just about helping. And so that's transformed my life through being able to see what everyone else is going through and helping. So
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that I went down this route, because I never would have gone through that had I not. And because when you're good and that's all sorted, well, see, now I'm just in a position where I can dedicate all my time to helping, because I'm no longer trying to fix myself. You know, my issues aren't getting in the way. I don't have issues anymore, which is really odd because I'm used to my life being like home and away. But I don't have those issues. So then, yeah, I dedicate to everything else. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, trading is like more of a, I would say 65-70% are male, and I would say 30-40% are female. And so is one of your goals to attract more female traders, to, you know, to show them that can be done in a really successful way?
Oh, I mean, the thing is, yeah, like, well, there was, I should know the name, but a famous trader who actually said that females make for the best traders because we pay more attention to detail. But the thing that the guys have on their side is that kind of macho ego where they're like, everything will be fine, and then they just place the trades. Whereas the females are kind of more reserved in that way. But yeah, trading is the best thing for, I mean, a lot of my female friends, they're mothers, and so they can't wait to be able to retire so that they can be with their kids. And, you know, I know females that are in domestic violence situations that are learning trading so that they can get out of that situation. And so I think that, yeah, I mean, there's so much. I think the great thing about trading is that your results are purely based on you, and there's no politics, and it is purely just, are you good or you're not? And I think that freedom is so much healthier, because you don't have all the things like, oh, you know, is that discrimination, or is it just because I'm not popular, or because of this. It is just, well, are you good or not? So, I mean, it works brilliantly for everyone. But yeah, definitely, you know, mothers, and I would love to one day teach people who, you know, have gone through things like I have been, you know, the domestic violence, rape and everything, and teach women who have gone through that to trading, to get them to a position where it's like, you know, you can yeah, you'd never have to worry about anything. You can be completely self-sufficient.
That's
So,
amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing. That's a great call. Hey, you said you want to go overseas.
I have to go overseas. Yes. Yeah. Because in Australia, to trade investor capital, you need an AFSL license. You need there's so many restrictions around it. You know, it's 70 grand to apply for it, I think. And then a board can say you're not good enough because you haven't gone to uni, no matter how much return you've made. And it's this whole rigmarole in Australia. So when I looked into that, it was like, okay, offshoring is going to have to be the way we're going to have to go. And so I will assess which country. There's a good accounting and law firm over in WA. And so come the end of the year or mid next year, I'll speak to them again and work out. I mean, we're going to go to the Cayman Islands, Singapore, wherever is the best place to go, I'll go, because my whole purpose is wanting to be in a position where I can generate as much income as I can to make the difference in the world that I want to. So as much as I love Australia and I'd love to live here, if that's not possible, then I will just move up. Whatever's going to let me save as many animals as possible is what I'm going to do. So yeah, but then the ironic thing is that a lot of people, when you talk about offshoring, they always think, you know, you're trying to avoid tax. And it's like, I'm trying to avoid having to go through the licensing. Not paying tax is just an added benefit on top of it, because that just comes part and parcel. So yeah,
Wow.
we will be moving overseas.
No. Thank you for sharing that. That's actually really good to know, especially for me. Anyway.
Yeah.
What do you think about the trading in a trading firm? Like there are a few in Sydney where they just trade banks' money. What do you have you ever thought to get into one? Or
My thing with that, I'm like, I don't understand unless you're trying to get insider information and you're trying to understand what they do behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you would learn trading to then just go and work in an investment firm, because unless trading for you is purely just for the money, which I haven't spoken to any trader who it is about that. It's about lifestyle and freedom.
Yeah.
But unless it's purely about money, and then you love that. Like I know people that love the corporate game, you know, the politics and the making your way up to the top and that, well, the Wall Street movie, right? And all of that comes with it. And they get a high of that environment. I can understand that. But no, I personally would never go into that. Because you have another boss, right? And so you just swapped it and you're just getting more money. And the stress and having someone tell you what to do, I was never good at that. So
good. No, it's good because it's impressive what you've done, which is, you know, I know what it takes to, you know, instead of going out with your friends, you prefer to stay home, read the book, and, you know, get good in something for a long period of time while you have people questioning yourself. When, you know, if you surround yourself of people who are doing the same things, you're kind of more keen. But you're going through a lonely path for a bit, I would say, until you start to, you know.
That's what's actually that point on loneliness. That's what I found really interesting, is that I thought it would be lonely. I thought that, you know, the idea, I used to have a massive fear of being alone. And that was just, you know, something that trading again solved. Now I love being alone. But I, you know, but
trading medicine anyway.
It is everything. But I thought it would be. And the thing is that then I got in, and the trading community, like the traders are honestly, talking about a group sense, they're the nicest group of people I've ever met. And there's an idea of, you know, traders are just all, you know, superficial. They are the most caring people, because those kind of traders is you're speaking to, because they're doing it they're the ones that are buying their mum a house and giving back to the world, and they've all got massive dreams. And so I actually feel like I have more friends now that, but a lot of them, they're located all over the world. They're not in Brisbane. Well, some of them are, but, majority of them are overseas. And then another thing that I thought when you retire, I'm like, you're going to be so lonely because you're not going to work all the time. And I'm like, again, I see people more, well, yeah. And I see people more, and I don't feel that. But I think that if people, in saying that, I've gone and vlogged it, so I do talk to a lot of people, whereas you could see but then there's a lot of traders that will deliberately cut themselves off, because if you're getting on your Instagram and someone's like, oh, I just made 15%, and then you've just taken a 15% hit, you're like, okay, and it can screw with your mindset. So, but I think that if you can find, I guess I never really got a lot of love out of, the idea of going out getting drunk, I'm like, yeah, so what? It doesn't do anything for me. I'm the kind of person that, if I go and catch up with someone, if it's not a deep and meaningful, I see it as pointless. I'm like, well, we didn't achieve anything here. But so that works well for me. But I know a lot of people are more in this place when they're in their 30s, 40s. And they wanted to go through that kind of partying lifestyle. Still a lot of partiers who are traders. But so.
Okay. What's your schedule on a daily basis? Like, what time you wake up? Do you meditate? Do you, I don't know, you do exercise? You do your risk analysis? Well, can you tell me a little bit of your daily schedule?
Yeah. So I wake up around 8 a.m. now. Definitely used to wake up at about 4, but so I wake up at 8, and then it's just, I'll do breakfast, and then definitely caffeine. I haven't given that up. And then so up until 4 p.m. in the day, I can fill my day with whatever I want to do. So next 6 months, it's a lot of planning and organizing. And sometimes I'll be refining strategies if I want to do that. But so it's mainly just wake up, fill that day into that time period, and then I've changed my strategy and worked to a point where I only check once an hour. And then sometimes I won't have to check the charts for another 3 hours. And so past 4 p.m. I'm checking the charts, but I'll place a trade. It'll take me, probably about a 15 to 15 minute nap if it's looking like it's presenting and it's looking good, and then I just check it every hour after that to manage it. The thing with, I don't forecast, and that's a big thing that a lot of traders will do. I don't forecast. I don't see there being any point in forecasting, because it's either going to go up or down, and you're either going to take it or you're not. It's I just see that as a waste of time personally. So with my trading, I've worked it in a way that I only have to check once an hour. So I only trade between 4 and 2 a.m. So that's capturing the London, the New York session.
You wake up at night, you set the trade, and you go to sleep.
So if I've set a trade at 2 a.m., which they're the annoying ones, then we just and foster our love of energy drinks, and we will just stay up and then manage that. But the good thing is that, I only trade high volume periods now. This is very different to what I did at the start of the year. And I have 2 management styles. So I'll put 2% on each one. And then I'll usually, the one that I need to be actively checking for, that won't last long. That'll be a few hours. And then I'll be able to park it. And then I'll be able to go to sleep and just wake up every hour and check. So it's very, that's the thing. I feel very lazy, because now, I was doing the 2 hours of sleep a night and then getting up early and it was work 9 to 5, vlog, back testing, doing all this, organizing everything. And I've gone to, all right, well, nothing on the charts, so just keep going back to doing whatever I'm doing. Nothing on the charts. And yeah, but it took a lot to get there. And I think that's what they talk about, right? You work hard so that you get to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many trades per day you usually take? Like as an average?
Now it's only about 4 to 5 trades a week, setups. But I mean, at the start of the year, I was doing 5 to 6 trades a day. I was taking everything. It was just I've refined my strategy a lot since then.
So you start to calculate what is worth and what is not, and to get the best return.
Well, see, I've worked out a scalping strategy that I will apply to a day trading setup. So it's only when it's a hybrid, it's only when those two are meeting and that's looking good that I will get in. And there's not many of those that actually happen. But the thing is that the percentage return is ridiculous and the strike rate is ridiculous. So, my latest version of my strategy, and this, I hadn't been applying it through the whole of the last 4 weeks. But had I been doing it for the whole period, that would have been 166% with 100% strike rate. So it's worth it. It's just, but it is like, it's more discretionary. So at the start of the year, it was easy because it was black and white. I was like, that's that. Just take it. Didn't think about it. But then I was getting hit with so many losses. So now it is a little bit more analysis on it. Not taking money.
Do you trade stocks as well or no? Just Forex?
I don't do that because stocks, that's where you're getting into more, you need to know about the company. I guess I just don't want the idea that, if the CEO goes and has an affair, it can affect the stock price. There's too many things. Whereas, in Forex, no one action is going to cause it to just cark it, except for like the Swiss drop where it just plummeted. So.
Nice. Olivia, sorry, because we are now 40 minutes and I promised you 30 minutes, so you got so much value here. Wow. Okay. Last 2 questions, promise, and I'll let you go. Okay. What do you think about real estate investing? Your opinion?
I don't see it as worth it. I'm not going to be able to talk with a lot of knowledge on it. I guess my biggest understanding of real estate and who really changed my mind on that was Lewis Mocker and finding out, about I think the big thing when you look at it is when people will say, the property price has gone up this much and we made 200 grand on it. And then I'm like, okay, but how much money did you actually put on it? And then break that down into a percentage return. You may have only made 10% on that. I'm like, I can make that in one trade, so it's kind of like, I think it can sound like a lot of money. And I think from having worked in finance, I think real estate, it's a risk profile thing. I think people feel a lot safer when it's there in front of them and they know it and they're familiar with it. Whereas something like trades just seems so high risk. But the great thing with trades is, well, I can choose how much I want to risk on it. I can only lose 1% on a trade or however much I want. Whereas real estate, there are so many other things. Obviously, I've got an auntie who's really big in it and done really well in it, but I've got no interest whatsoever in that, except for buying my mum's mansion. But other than that, no interest in real estate.
So you not much keen into get yourself into debt, which for 30 years mortgage, you more like make money, learn how to trade and pay cash.
Oh yeah, and I'll probably just be renting. I can understand the emotional value in buying your own home.
Yeah,
I get that, and then everyone who speaks in this area can understand that. And wanting to buy your own car and you can do what you want to it. I get that, but the thing is, I think if people are, worried about, they want that high return, but they're worried about taking on that risk, we'll find a trader that they can prove their percentage return over, courses of years, and see what kind of markets they've gone through, and see what kind of percentage, profit split they're going to do with you. Because then it can just be as simple as, all right, sign a contract, transfer the money, and then it's, that's all you have to do, and that's the only worry you have. You get an annual report, you make that. But I think a lot of people aren't aware of, I think they just, a lot of investors, they will, and into traders, if they go and see, oh, the Dow's down, and they just call up and be like, oh my God, is my money safe? And I think that the problem is that not a lot of people understand trading and how that's different to stocks. And so, but no, I wouldn't, no interest in real estate at all.
Okay. Hey, for someone who's getting started, what's your recommendation for someone new, like books, courses, and I know you went through a lot of them until you find your own strategy. What would you recommend for someone new?
Course, hands down, Guerrilla trading. And I just want to put out there, there's no affiliate program. There's no any of that. And see, I'm not even technically a member anymore of Guerrilla, because I've gone and made that my own, and applied scalping. But of course, Guerrilla, it's the best in every regard. Like it's black and white, simple, highest returns, easiest management, quickest to learn. I mean, it took me 1 month to learn it, 2 months to backtest it. First month live with the strategy, it was a 98% return. You can't, like, I'd never known anything like that before. Wow. Also, there's no ego in there. So it's not like this kind of God complex and this is the almighty strategy and you cannot deviate from this at all. And people just support each other. So I'd highly, highly recommend it. In my eyes, if you start with Guerrilla trading, you've got the easiest trading, career possible. But then in the way of books, see, trading in the zone only helped me with my love life. So I don't, I can't really recommend, I mean, a lot of people have found value from that. But I would recommend listening to people like Grant Cardone and Gary Vee, because they are speaking about, and Tony Robbins goes a little bit more into, in some of his books, into the actual finances and taxes and everything. And not that I could say on Grant Cardone and from having seen him live, but that's still the right mindset to go with. And I think that it's not trading specific, but you can apply it to everything. So
nice.
That's what I would recommend.
Hey, last one before it's been 45 minutes. Sorry to stealing more of your time. What's your goal now? What's your plan, Olivia, for the next year, 5 years, 10 years?
So my whole entire life goal is just to remove as much pain from this world as possible. And that falls under a lot of different things, but my ideal, the thing that I'm going to be going into first, is that I'm vegan. So what I would love to do, my epitome of my dream, is to go to farmers, and to be able to say, I can trade for you, I can make you more money, and I can get, instead of investing in meat and dairy, go and invest in 3D printed meat or into the vegan foods. I'd love to trade for free of charge, for vegan companies, and that are small, and it's like, I'll trade for you, and then you won't have to worry about income, and then you can just spend all your time making this as tasty as possible. Because a lot of my things that I want to do and helping in that way, I want to influence through supply and demand, trying to win over people's emotions and trying to create charities and doing all those kinds of things. Well, if you just make it that the product and the thing is cheaper, tastier, is better in so many of those areas, that's, I think, and just make it more popular, that's easier. So that's kind of the route I'll be going down. But also just doing a lot of content, free content, and going out and just speaking with everyone, you know, people that have gone through what I've gone through in so many areas, and to be able to help them. So pretty much it's just for the rest of my life, my only goal is just to keep removing pain. That's all I care about. If I get married, I get married. If I have kids, I have kids. That's neither here nor there. I just want to remove pain from the world. That is it.
No,
So,
that's amazing. Hey, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. That was actually a good, valuable 45 minutes. Hey, Olivia, I'm going to put your link in the description about your Instagram. So if anyone want to reach out to you, I'm going to put on the description. Hey, thank you so much. It was great. Thank you.
No,
Really.
no, thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Nice talking to you.
Have a good day.
Bye.